What's up, YouTube? I wanted to talk to you guys today about emotional awareness as a man. I think, before we get started, if you guys can do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe, or comment on the video, it really help me out in growing the channel, reaching more people. But let's dive into it. Emotional awareness as a man. You know, we always grew up in a time period where, this is men don't cry. So this is not what this video about, telling you to get in touch with your emotions. This is about being aware of your emotions and being able to control them. I think all too often, men have forgotten how to, I don't want to say forgotten, but they have prescribed manning up with being unfeeling, right? So I can man up and still be aware that, I'm in my feelings, right? What I mean by that, right? For example, let's say I'm in an argument with a young lady, right? Or anybody. I can express how I'm feeling or how a particular action felt without diving too deep in my emotions. And if I can't do that, then I need to pause that conversation and come back when I'm clear-headed and level-headed. Right? And also, you can stand on business without going over the top. I've said what I said. So if my feelings are, for lack of a better term, hurt, right? So you did something that disrespected me, or you didn't take my feelings in consideration, I can express myself and say, look, when you did X, Y, Z, I didn't like how that made me feel. I felt disrespected. I felt whatever I was feeling. I can tell you that, and then I move on from the situation. The problem comes in when you get your feelings hurt and you immediately react, right? You go over the top, you fussing and, doing all that, basically being emotional and standing out your frame, right? Because like I said, you can express how you're feeling without stepping out of your emotional frame. And I think men today have lost the capability to stay in frame. Right, and what do I mean by staying in frame? Staying in frame means you are still embracing your masculinity while handling the world, right? Because if you think that you are so alpha that the world is never going to get to you, right? Or you're so masculine in your relationships that you're never going to be tested, then you're crazy, right? So the question of staying in frame becomes, if I'm upset at a situation, I can express how I'm feeling about it and not lose my temper, right? Because not every situation requires you to lose your temper. And matter of fact, that's the whole phrase in itself, losing your temper. You lost your temper, meaning you lost yourself, right? You got out of character, right? So there's a couple suggestions. I like to remove myself from people that continuously push me out of my character or the character that I'm trying to convey, right? Because the biggest struggle with staying in character is being around people that enforce the character that you want to build, right? So if I want to be a loving person, I'm going to be around people that give me love. If I want to be a patient person, then I'm going to be around people who don't try my patience. If I want to be a happy person, I'm going to be around people that make me happy, right? So I'm not going to do things that are counterintuitive to who I'm trying to be in life, right? And that goes for, just beyond emotions. If you want to be successful, you need to be around successful people. Sometimes we surround ourselves with the wrong type of folks, and then we wonder why, success is evading us. It's key into what you surround yourself with and who you want to be if you want to achieve it. If I am not wanting to be in the streets anymore, I'm not going to surround myself with street people. Sometimes you have to leave people where you found them. If they don't want to progress in life and do things differently, and they don't want to help you progress in life, by meaning not necessarily give you a handout or a hand up, but they're not putting you in a situation that would make your life worse, right? And that goes for relationships and friendships, right? If I have a friend that is constantly putting me in situations to where I am counterproductive to who I want to be in life, I need to leave that friend alone. No matter how many years I might have invested in that friendship, sometimes if you want to grow in life, you have to cut the weeds around you, right? Sometimes the weeds of life can strangle out your growth. They can block the sun from shining on you, and they can, drink the water that was meant for you. And the whole point of them blocking and doing those things so they can have their own growth while your growth is stunted or you don't grow at all. I mean, there's a reason why people clear out weeds from gardens, because they're a growth killer. They take up the valuable resources that were meant for the intended plant, right? In this case, that intended plant is you, right? You continue to surround yourself with weeds, and you wonder why you're not growing. They're devouring all the resources. And it's the same thing in a relationship. So that's why I say, number one, you have to surround yourself with people who are going in the same direction that you're going, and that promote the emotional healthiness that you need in order to be successful, right? So that's number one. Number two is being aware of your own limitations and holding yourself accountable to this lady's just going across there like a crazy person. But being accountable to yourself, right? Sometimes we get in a situation where we believe that it's everybody else's fault but our own. Like, you might have and I was talking to a friend of mine, which is why this conversation comes up. Sometimes you be in a relationship and you're so busy pointing the finger at what they're doing wrong, you're not taking accountability for what you contributed to that situation. Case in point, let's say you got a woman that you're dealing with, and you're like, oh, she's too masculine, she's this, that, and the third, she doesn't listen, whatever the case may be, right? But the whole point is you're enabling her, right? And you can enable her in a couple ways. A, by not checking the behavior once it starts, or B, catering to the behavior and trying to figure out, okay, she's acting up today, what's wrong with her, blah, 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 blah. Instead of saying, look, I'm not putting up with that, right? I'm not going to be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't respect my boundaries, who doesn't take this relationship seriously, and you cut that off. And like I was explaining to that person, you have to be willing to walk away from any situation, and that comes in the art of negotiation. Be willing to walk away from the deal. And in this particular situation, you have to be willing to walk away from a relationship if that person doesn't respect your boundaries and your principles. And you can't have 1,001 principles like, oh, I don't like a person that walks a certain way or chews gum a certain way, or things like that. So I would file that under just being too picky. What I would say is you have certain boundaries, like, okay, I don't want a woman that's constantly out in the streets, right? Every other weekend or every weekend she has to be, seen and about. If that's not what you're about, leave that woman where you found her, right? Because that's the other thing. If she's not willing to change for you without an argument, then just let her be. It's not your job or your responsibility to change someone to fit your program. You lay what your program is, and if you guys are compatible, great. If they're not compatible, that's okay too. But you're going to find more stress trying to convince this person to be what you need them to be, instead of just allowing them to be themselves and making a decision based off of that, right? So, and now, because you've made them change, or you want them to change, you're all in your emotions because they're not changing to, the specifications of how you want things, and they're not moving how you want them to move. And now you're all emotional. And if they do change because of you, right, because of what you wanted, then now they resent you, right? So just some thoughts I had, guys. Tell me what your thoughts are. Please comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Please hit a like on me, help me out, help me grow the channel. Well, anyway, guys, just wanted to touch on that basis for a while, on that topic. Anyway, I wish you guys a great day.